Hello, BNI Vermont members. This is Vickie Wacek, your Executive Director, and I am sharing this video today to give you an update on our BNI online experience, specifically in conjunction to going back to in-person meetings. So I've got a few insights and perspectives, and then some ideas to help you leverage this online environment. The first thing is I want to let you know I'm very much looking forward to going back to in-person. I miss the body language, I miss the interaction, I miss the free flow of open networking. And this, as much as I have enjoyed the experience working from home, it's highly distracting. So I look forward to getting into an environment where I can just focus on you and your business, and we can do that for each other. Going back to online meetings has a lot of nuances, and that's important to take into account. The first nuance is absolutely safety and the caution around safety. Some of us have family members at home, elderly, or young children, or we want to interact with family and friends who may be immunocompromised or elderly. So going back to in-person meetings, going to social environments with a lot of people could be a high risk. They could actually stop us from seeing our family and friends. So we're a little bit more cautious about going back to in-person meetings, not to mention how intense COVID can be for a lot of people who contract it. The next thing is that we need to take into consideration is that we're not sure, and we won't be until it happens, what kind of experiences we're going to have with waves of COVID. And we and BNI want to avoid as much as possible the going into in-person, back to online, in-person, back to online. We don't want to do that on a major swing. We want to establish a sense of norm that allows you to establish good practices to produce referrals. So we're not hyper into getting back to in-person meetings because we aren't very confident that we would get to stay there long, which would create difficulty for you as referral partners. Another thing to consider is that we here in Vermont, are part of a global organization, and as such, we reflect that as a team. And I know many of you probably don't feel like you're part of the global organization, but you sure are. So we want to make sure here in Vermont that we're not doing something that doesn't reflect BNI on a global scale. That doesn't mean we're waiting for all chapters to go back to in-person before we would. It just means that we're not going to jump the gun when the rest of the world is still in BNI online, and they are. No BNI region in the world has gone back to in-person meetings, no exception, which is kind of intense. So going back online also has some repercussions we need to consider. I meant to say going back to in-person. One is going back to in-person meetings. The faster we do it, even if we don't do it quickly, we're probably looking at a number of meetings with people in masks. And you know what's interesting about being in a mask is I can't see what you're really translating. Most of our communication when it comes to body language happens from our cheekbones down. So I actually believe that going back to meetings in masks will drop trust, drop confidence, and we will see a drastic decrease in referrals because we can't truly communicate. I would much rather have a one-to-one or contact sphere meeting or a BNI meeting with you digitally where I can see your body language and really interpret what you're saying versus communicating like this. Not to mention, imagine how this is going to make our visitors feel. Very alienated, very uncomfortable, because this is not the way we humans communicate. Another thing we need to take into consideration, and this is a really big one, liability. If you go to a BNI meeting and a visitor comes and catches COVID from somebody, we don't know who, and they might then sue your chapter, your business, the BNI Vermont region, we need to keep liability, which has already been a huge discussion. I'm sure the lawyers in BNI Vermont are like, COVID liability is an absolute thing. So we're not going to jump the gun and put any liability risk in your pocket by going back to in-person meetings. It also is worth noting that when we go back to in-person meetings, we're probably going to be signing waivers as members, and every visitor who comes to our meeting will probably have to sign a waiver about being at the meeting and the risks that they are taking by being in the meetings. I have a feeling many of you listening to this video right now are also like, sure, go back to in-person, but I won't be coming. There are a number of people in BNI Vermont who are not comfortable meeting in person, and we're not going to push it. We also don't want to take a risk to your referral relationships by forcing people into an online environment, an in-person environment that they're not comfortable with. And we don't want to see members going on sustained maternity leave, medical leave. We don't want to see members resigning from this referral relationship they have with you because we forced in-person meetings too quickly. There's also something we have to take into account, and that is access to your venues. I've heard a number of venues have closed until end of July, August. I even had one chapter contacting me saying that their venue will not open till September. So we also have to take into consideration, where will we go when we go back to in-person? A lot of this is tough to hear, but I've got some good news. We're part of a global organization. It's not just your chapter or BNI Vermont. We have this amazing online environment that we are learning to leverage. If I were to show you the thank you for closed business and referral numbers that you have been generating over the last 8 weeks, you would be speechless, as I have been. In fact, April was the most profitable thank you for closed business April we have ever had in BNI Vermont history. And in the month of May, we're 10% higher thank you for closed business than we were last year at this time. You all are producing referrals. You are generating income for each other. This online environment works. So we don't want to take away, we don't want to create too much flux. We don't want to create threat, liability, health risks to anyone. We will go back to online meetings. Stay tuned. There will be updates from the regional office through email, through newsletters, through your director, consultant, or ambassador team. You'll probably see some more videos from me. In the meantime, since we don't know how long we'll be online for our BNI meetings, leverage this. Every chapter in the world right now is online. You've got counterparts and possible referral partners all over the place. It's just a matter of leveraging it. So open up the BNI Connect mobile app. Click on worldwide search and look for some professionals that are worth having some one-to-ones with. And speaking of one-to-ones, the state of Vermont does allow groups of up to 10. So if you'd like to have your one-to-ones in person, if both of you feel comfortable, please do so. If you want to have your mentor meeting in person, absolutely. If the mentors on your mentor team feel comfortable, do so. If you'd like to have your contact sphere meeting in person, again, if everybody on your team feels comfortable doing so, please be encouraged, as long as the group is less than 10 people, to do so. Recognize some people may not participate, and a lot of people may participate in masks, and that really changes the communication environment. Stay tuned, ask questions. We're here for you. Leverage this online environment. It is beneficial. You are doing good things together, and BNI is going to be here for you the whole time. Thanks, everybody. Happy networking.